while we were in Richmond. It was very impressive when it beat Shaheen in the final. So the deck is capable of some very explosive things as we are underway here in round number 8. Temple of Abandon. It's going to start it off.
And I feel like we've seen very few Ascendancy decks relative to its success. It has 2 Open Series wins.
Yep.
In pretty recent span of time. And we still don't see a lot of it, and I'm confused by that.
Monastery Whisperer will start things off here for Runyon. Davis with a Temple of Triumph, so he's getting his mana online before passing the turn back. Runyon going to try to get underneath him. Picked up a copy of Defiant Strike, that's his draw. The Ascendancy isn't what ties them together, it's just what takes the deck into overdrive.
Well, you can go off, you can actually go infinite, or you can just play a conventional game. And that dimension of the deck is very cool.
How to sculpt the turns can be a little bit difficult, though. Temple of Enlightenment, perhaps another copy of Monastery's Whisper, absolutely. In here for 2. Davis is going to go down to 17. And pass the turn back, Davis will draw. Third land is a forest. Perhaps we're in Courser of Krufix territory. We are. Top card's a Hornet Queen. We're a long ways away from that.
Who's the token strategy now?
Yeah. Runyon will untap. It's time to draw. Jeskai Charm is what he's found. And there's Mana Confluence. So that's the 3rd color of mana. This will allow Runyon to cast Jeskai Ascendancy if he'd like to this turn.
And I kind of like getting the Ascendancy online. It still allows him to attack for 2 because there's a prowess trigger on the Swiss Spears. And then everything gets easier going forward once this card's in play.
That is what he will cast. Prowess triggers on each. Kind of a free attack. They're both 2/3s at this point, so Courser can't kill one, so it'll block 1, 2 damage will come across. Davis will draw the Hornet Queen. Top card is a copy of Wooded Foothills. If Hornet Queen can get into play, it'll be pretty good. Here's another Courser. Now the Foothills are going to play. Trigger, trigger. Up to 17. Take a look at the top card. It's a copy of Temple of Abandon. So Courser trying to build a very slow advantage over the course of this game. We'll just pass the turn back over to Runyon, who will untap his 3 lands. And this is where trouble strikes when you're playing against an Ascendancy deck.
Yeah, if you can't contain the board or get the Ascendancy off the table, it's just going to get worse. Fortunately for Jordan, there is a bottleneck on John's side of the table right now, which is white mana. His hand's all white, and he only has the Mana Confluence as a source.
And you see the 2 copies of Seeker, the way of Defiant Strike along with the Jeskai Charm, and then a Shivan Reef. But here's an attack. And we'll see if there will be any blocks here from Davis. It is scary to try to block when your opponent has an Ascendancy and open mana in play. Or just a singular one. Perhaps it's time for a Defiant Strike.
This is a really nice spot to do it, as the Swiss Spear will now trade up, killing the Courser without dying on the way back.
And Defiant Strike providing +3 here. 1 from itself, 1 from the Ascendancy, and 1 from Prowess. So,
yeah,
that's pretty good.
And he gets a draw card and
yeah.
loot.
Yeah. And untap his creature, sure, why not? Yes. So we're going to go through the hectic nature of Ascendancy. You see Jordan taking a look. How does this work?
This is not the most elegant design on the planet.
It's very Anime Dead-esque.
Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, 3 totally random things happen. Okay.
Cool.
I'll try to keep up, I guess.
And now he gets to draw a card off Defiant Strike, as that does cantrip. So you get to loot first, then you actually get to draw a card. So there's the card. Lightning Strike is what he's found.
And Jordan may consider lightning striking here just for another loot and some damage.
Yeah.
His mana is likely to be tied up next turn.
And John explaining to Jordan, oh, your Courser is dead. Yep. It is 4, and it does, which is quite a bit. Mystic Monastery, pass the turn back, Lightning Strike at the ready. The draw is a Temple of Abandon. Take a look at the top card. It's another copy of Temple of Abandon. Jordan Davis needs to get something going here.
Yeah, it's nice to get Courser going with these little bits of value, but this is not a long-term solution against someone with Jeskai Ascendancy up and running.
Yeah, where's the big haymaker? That's the question. Where's the Pelucranos, the Stormbreath Dragon? Something. Right now, going to search up a forest off the wooded foothills.
Swiftspear is very impressive. Even in standard, a format where there's not a bunch of Gitaxian probes and brainstorms and serum visions floating around to fuel it, still does a lot of good work.
Yeah, that card is just so underrated. And, it's just another card that, we just kind of missed as a community. Because, how good's prowess? Well, I don't know. That's your initial assessment. It's not as splashy as some of the other keywords that we saw coming out, like ferocious, Delve draws a lot of attention, I suppose.
I think that it's got a lot of the same initial assessment issues that Delver of Secrets has, which is how do you build a beatdown deck with lost spells in it? That's not the easiest thing to do.
Easier than we think. There's 5 mana. Wingmate Rock. Raid trigger has been satisfied. And pass the turn back. Runyon may have some interest in maybe lightning striking, but no, he'll wait, try to pick a better spot. He'll draw. Didn't get a great look at it, but you can see the 2 Seeker of the Waves.
I think that was a spot, though, where the writing was on the table what was going to happen there, and John could have made a really aggressive block with the lightning strike.
Sure.
Because when Jordan drew for the turn, the top card of his deck was a Temple. He elected to shuffle that away instead of putting it into play with Courser, which means that he has to be playing a 5-mana spell. At the point that he hasn't played anything before combat, it's not Sarka, it's not Stormbreath Dragon. So if your opponent wants to attack with their Courser in that spot, which is a little bit risky, and they have to be committing 5 mana to the table to rationalize the play in the first place, I think it's a bit of a giveaway that Wingmate Rock was Jordan's play there.
So he could have just lightning strike maybe the Courser and untap the Swiftspear?
Maybe he doesn't care to do it, but I believe there was a preponderance of evidence that Wingmate Rock was the card in Jordan's hand there.
Well, it's Bird Token Friend is going to block a Swiftspear here. It looks like you might see a little Jeskai Charm action, perhaps. Maybe the hidden mode, as many like to call it. Could see +1/+1. And a lifelink. We'll see.
So it's the same Defiant Strike math. It's actually +3. One from the Charm itself, one from the Prowess triggers of the Swiftspears, and then one from the Jeskai Ascendancy.
So some triggers here. Jeskai Ascendancy trigger, of course, Prowess triggers as well. So draw discard is where we'll begin. And we'll see where things do end here. Seeker's going to bite the dust. That was a little slow this game. Building up a nice little graveyard for Treasure Cruise, though. Just 1 in Runyon's deck, but he does have it in his hand. So same math in the Defiant Strike as you did mention will take care of the Bird token. 1 from Prowess, 1 from Ascendancy, 1 from Jeskai Charm. You see Runyon kind of explaining that. It is a touch confusing.
Yes. There's a lot of things happening when you cast a spell with Jeskai Ascendancy in play.
Yeah. And now there will be some life gain that takes place as well, so. Yep, count it all up. And then life will, the big thing I think they're counting is how much life is being gained.
Sure.
So the dust will set on Runyon's life till it'll go a little bit higher. So trying to race for Davies is probably gonna be pretty tough as Runyon's at 24 to 11 now.
Though Jordan is getting to the spot where he's just starting to play more powerful stuff than what John has. And if John's not able to maintain his board here, he can just get outclassed even with Ascendancy in play.
Yeah, I think that John has the most powerful card in play right now in Ascendancy, but Jordan has the next 2 in Courser and Wingmate Rock. So we'll see. Here's a Temple. Looks like Jordan wants to leave that on top. He knows he's in some trouble, though. It is not any fun playing against Ascendancy, that's for sure.
And there's always the fear that you can just die out of nowhere, too.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan does not know that John's on the non-infinite version.
Yeah, no retraction helixes, no spring leaf drums here. Jeskai Ascendancy just being used, as a way to make creatures bigger and, loot through your bad draws and get to your good cards. Here's a Sarkin.
Jeskai Ascendancy plus Whirling Outburst plus Raise the Alarm is just that's a great foundation for a deck.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The Dragon Speaker is in. The elevator's going up. Some flyers look to be coming across. Well, there'll be a Wingmate Rock trigger so long as Davies does remember. But 7 damage will be dealt.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah. It's not like the Sarkin is blocking. I'll tell you that much. Runyon will untap. The scary thing is, there's a world that exists where Davies just dies this turn.
Oh, for sure.
That's what's scary about the whole thing. It's not terribly likely, but if the draws do come together, thanks to the Ascendancy and the Prowess triggers from the Monastery Swiftspear, it could happen. He's already reaching for some mana here. Raise the Alarm. Triggers all around.
Just trying to get that graveyard stocked up for the treasure cruise, I would assume.
Yep. 2 soldier tokens coming in. So we'll see if there's going to be any looting that does take place.
Yeah, he looted away a Secret
And
Away.
he just picked up a copy of Stoke. I see it now. Stoke is kind of free in these circumstances, which is also pretty neat.
Depending on what your definition of neat is, there's a lot of neat stuff going on with the Ascendancy deck.
Yeah.
Or nothing about this is neat. It's kind of up to you to decide.
Yeah, well, at least I get to decide. I think, okay, so right now, because now he gets a Stoke for free, because Convoke 4, and then Stoke, maybe clear Courser out of the way. A couple of triggers here. Davies might be dead.
Yeah, it's actually looking pretty likely for where I'm sitting. I'm not going to bother to do the math. I'd rather just be surprised when someone picks up their cards or not.
Oh,
But
sure,
I
sure.
think this is lethal.
And Jeskai Ascendancy is the backup draw, but he can just discard that. Doesn't need another one of those. Because now the Swiftspears are 5 power creatures. So that's 10. Now, of course...
And Lightning Strike is just lethal.
Yeah, the Raise the Alarm tokens can't attack, but the Swiftspears can. So now he says Lightning Strike you, I think, or cast Treasure Cruise. Either one's fine. No, he's got to cast Strike. He's got to cast Strike to get it done this turn, I think.
I think he has not played a land yet and still has Confluence Lightning Strike.
Yep.
So this is fine. This all works.
Yeah, 2 more. Going to peel 3. Doesn't have to... Well, he can trigger Ascendancy if he wants to.
Yeah, no harm.
Yeah, doesn't have to, but he can. He's going to discard Raise the Alarm. Doesn't need that. Cruise is going to resolve. Peel 3. So a Raise, a Charm, a Stoke. Yeah, okay.
And now, okay, the Stoke is definitely a kill.
Yeah. Yep, Stoke you. Maybe this is the deck I'm supposed to play in Portland.
This looks like a Cracker Jack.
Yeah. Because this is completely absurd every time I see it happen.
Yeah.
So.
Every time we see Ascendancy on camera, I have the same feeling of, this feels like a modern deck. Feels like a modern deck that are letting you play in Standard at least for a little while.
Yeah, attack you for 300. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the dice there represent, the +1/+1s that have taken place. So that's 8. Plus the Swiftspear's base power is 9. So that's an attack for 18 that turn. He could have dealt 20 that turn in combination with the Lightning Strike.
Yeah. Through a blocker. Through a Courser.
Sweet.
All right.
Well done, John. Well done. You are up a game over Nia Walker's. We will take a look at Jordan Davis's sideboard right now. I hope he has some erases or something.
He's got some action here. An Elspeth Sun's Champion 3, Goblin Rabbitmaster 3, Anger of the Gods, 2 Suspension Fields, 2 Arc Lightnings, a Sarkin, a Hornet Queen, 2 copies of End Hostilities. I think 2 End Hostilities, 2 Arc Lightnings, and 3 Anger of the Gods are all big upgrades here. Nothing that can touch enchantments, unfortunately, though he does have the 3 Vanishing Lights in his main deck, but no erases, none of that. The more efficient answers that you alluded to. 3
Mantis Riders, 2 Hushwing Gryphs, 2 copies of Erase, 2 Magma Spray, 2 Glare of Heresy, 2 Negate, and then 2 copies of Scouring Sands. I like Mantis Rider the most here. Going over the top of this deck as far as in the air, I think is a very good idea.
It's fine. I don't know if he really wants to play, honest Magic here, but I think Mantis Rider is fine.
Yeah, I like Mantis Rider, like 3 of those, just giving the beatdowns in the air and just cutting the 2 Defiant Strikes in the Treasure Cruise.
Okay.
That's what I think I'd like to do. Jeskai Ascendancy, as far as the spells are concerned, that would leave him with 4 Lightning Strikes, 3 Jeskai Storms, and 4 Stoke the Flames, which isn't a ton, but he doesn't have a ton to begin with.
The Rabble Master strikes me as a card that may be worthy of cutting as well. Against a deck that's really good at blocking and removing stuff.
Yeah, and I also take that back, too, because I thought those were only spells, but under the creature sections, he has Raising Alarm and Hordeling Outburst, so
Yeah.
plenty of spells to turn on Ascendancy. We'll say that.
I don't know. The point being, not really that much to bring in here.
Sure. Truthfully, I don't think he needs to change very much.
No.
I think the matchup is pretty good for him. Players are going to get geared up for game number 2. You guys may have seen on our lapels, we do have some turtles here. That's because for game night this month, boom. That's how you get them.
Hanging out here every December. You can go over to the StarCityGames.com/game night for more information. The way this program works is every month we send out kits to stores that are signed up. The stores can again give out these tokens and these pins as part of their organized play program anytime throughout the week, sanctioned, unsanctioned, whatever format you want to run it as. Just get fun and friendly Magic going on at your store. So if you want to get on board for January, head over to Star City Games now and get your store signed up.
Yeah, December already locked in. January, there'll be a new token, new pin. Can't tell you what it is, mostly because I don't know.
No, I do not know either.
We were kept in the dark, but this month we do know that there are turtles for Star City Games game night. Again, any day of the week that you want to run it in December every week. Going to be a lot of fun as we make our way through the holiday season. Hey, perfect stocking stuffer.
Perfect.
Right? I am great at this. I didn't really do a lot of stocking stuffing when I was young. That wasn't really a thing in my house.
Right. Stockings, I think my parents tried to make a go of it, but it's just annoying and confusing.
Though Christmas was always sweet.
Yeah, it was sweet.
I like Christmas. We're going to have snow here soon. Yeah, right?
In Atlanta?
Well, probably not here, but
Well, when you say here, I was in Michigan last week. There was snow the day that I landed.
okay.
I'm going back to San Diego. There will never be snow there.
Okay.
So I don't know when you mean snow here. You mean sort of
In
in
the
the general sense?
Yeah, in the general sense. Like, I'm really hoping there's not snow in Seattle because I'd be horrified if there is. But, just like think about it. In January, the first swing, we're gonna have to get the coats out.
Oh, I'm already thinking about it.
Yeah, gonna have to get the warm coats out, the boots. Gonna have to prepare for the ice. And I'm soft now. I'm a real wimp.
Doesn't take long.
Yeah, I'm a real wimp.
We
went out in Richmond, and
Yep.
it was raining. I didn't want to go anywhere because it was
Wow.
kind of cold. Yeah, it's embarrassing. I live in a city where it rains. I just didn't want to do anything.
You lose that. Not that you grew up on the East Coast, but you lose that toughness about the weather. You lose it really fast.
Well, it's not like it's not cold in Cleveland during
Exactly.
the
That's
winter.
that's my point.
Yeah, grew up on the tough roads of Lake Erie. Lake effect snow. Ugh. I don't miss it much. Shoveling the driveway. I remember too, my dad would let us stand in the garage. Like my bus stop was on the corner of my yard. So we got to stand in the garage, and when the bus would come around the corner, we'd have to run down the driveway.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun, actually. To be young again.
I don't miss it.
Yeah, right. Remember when your parents woke you up and told you it was a snow day? You don't miss that excitement?
Not really.
I do. You're a crouch.
Yeah. Now I just don't go to work if I'm not feeling like it. So I just, every day's a snow day.
Just call in.
Just wake up. You know what? We call it a not feeling it day.
Yeah, that's what you should call it and say it's a snow day to your boss.
Just not feeling it.
Yeah.
It is really coming down here. You would not believe it. Don't believe the weather report either.
Outside of my apartment complex, my goodness. Nobody can get out. Looks like Jordan is happy with his hand.
I think these Jeskai strategies, I don't know what the best one is of these Ascendancy decks. Do you combo? Do you just play Ascendancy for value? Whatever, but I think this deck is outrageous. I watched this deck on camera. It seems so above the other decks in the format in terms of power level.
Well, its good turns are laughable. Right, like no one has a turn as good as their, oh, I untapped with Ascendancy, best of luck, you know.
Right.
If I untap with Pelucranos, great, I have a 5/5 that's attacking.
Well, here's the thing. Over time, the deck has gone from, yeah, you get some ridiculous turns, but also you have, you know, a freaking Briber's Purse, or you had to untap with a Kiora's Follower in play, like
Sure.
that was going on with the deck. And over time, it's gone to like the type of list that we have John playing, where all the cards are fine. It's a deck that could easily win without Ascendancy.
Yeah. Much more real, that's for sure. No more trash in the deck.
Yeah.
It's a welcome change.
All these cards are cards that other decks play.
Yeah.
Except maybe Raise the Alarm, and Raise the Alarm could easily be a card that people play. Defiant Strike, yeah, sure.
I guess, you know, in a vacuum, Defiant Strike is the worst card in the deck, but it serves a purpose in the deck.
Exactly. But the rest of the list is just, these are just normal Magic cards that work in regular games. And you still get to have what we saw that game where I believe John's 5th turn was deal 20 to you through a blocker, and he could have done more.
There were some things that took place that turn, yes.
Okay.
Some things did happen, and Jordan did not get to play the game anymore, unfortunately. John going to draw a card. He does have Ascendancy in his hand again. There's a Shivan Reef. And it looks like Jordan doesn't have any form of acceleration, so just sacrificing fetch lands. And this does seem like a pretty difficult matchup for his Nia Walker's deck.
I would feel more comfortable about his chances if his deck was better at removing the card Ascendancy from the table.
Sure.
Because he's really good at blocking.
Yep.
It's just Ascendancy itself is a disaster.
Windswept Heath. See, we're going to search up. Green mana. Perhaps a Courser is on its way. Get to sleep up those Glare Heresies from the Mardu deck.
Yeah.
I'm not losing to Ascendancy. It's not going to happen.
I think you want some Mark Lightnings too.
Yeah, I think I want a couple of those. That sounds like a good
Not that they're
innovation.
great here, but I think they're still good enough.
Better than nothing. Courser time. Top card. Let's see, a Wooded Foothills. We go back Runyon's way. See if he has the necessary 3rd mana. I see a Battlefield Forge. Temple Epiphany was the draw too, so he can simply deploy the Ascendancy this turn if he'd like, and then have some fun on the following turns. But looks like he's going to lead out with Seeker of the Way. Yes. Temple. Get that online. Little scry here too. Leave it on top. Pass it back.
Yeah, there is a risk with the naked Ascendancy there, because if Jordan just untaps and kills it, John has a handful of 2/2s and 1/1s against Nia Walker's, not where he wants to be. So I think he wants to at least squeeze out a little bit first.
Wood of Foothills will come in. Pelucranos will get shuffled away. It's time to search up a land. For Davis, no white mana just yet. That's a mountain. So being a 3-color deck does have a bit of sensitivity as far as colors are concerned. We don't see this happen a lot, as the mana for these decks are pretty good, especially if you're base green. But this looks like one of the games where Davis is having a little bit of trouble with colors of mana.
Well, he had the opportunity to get white mana last turn, but elected to cast his Courser instead. And who knows if he even has any white cards to begin with.
Yeah. Top card, Forest. Xenagos. Perhaps it's time for a little Satyr token. Xenagos, a card that has been kept in check quite a bit in this particular format, thanks to cards like Butcher the Horde and Mantis Rider.
A lot of haste, a lot of flying.
Yep.
This card was really powerful last year.
It was quite good.
It was one of the better cards you could be playing against Mono Black Devotion. Pretty good against Esper and Blue White, but sort of out of place with the way that Cinder looks now.
Runyon knows what he's going to draw. He kept it on top with the Temple. Rather quickly, may I add. So let's see if he finds what he's looking for. Battlefield Forge is where we'll start. In. We're going after Xenagos. You see running in his hand, he does have a copy of Lightning Strike. He's ready.
I wonder why Jordan's getting John rather is getting fancy here. We'll see. We'll find out in a moment. He did have the option of just stoke the flames your Courser, get a prowess trigger, kill your Xenagos.
Sure.
So there must be a greedier line of play he's trying to explore right now.
There's Raise the Alarm. Trigger prowess. 2 1-1s. There goes that. Yeah, I think this is okay. Simply because like the next turn we can see something right where he just goes to Ascendancy and play a 2-mana spell.
Yes.
And maybe Stoke, you know, if things line up the way that he wants them to. So I can see where he's coming from with that. Banish Light's the top card, so maybe this will slow down his Ascendancy plan a little bit. Satyr token's coming in for 2. Courser's gonna hang back on D. Bringing down at 18. Davis at 20.
Now with the Banishing Light on top, I guess John's still going to be working under the assumption that Jordan can't cast it. I don't think he's going to respect it.
Yeah, no, that's legit. No white mana yet. Another Raise the Alarm. Things are going to get a little ugly now. Patrick, I don't want to play this deck in Portland.
Bum.
I don't want to play this deck in Portland.
This deck is super good, I think.
I don't want to play this deck in Portland.
I get that.
I want to play Crackling Doom and Butcher the Horde. The only thing he can't do this
You've always been one of the loudest advocates for why fight fair when you can just not do that.
Yeah.
And I know you're looking over at this tokens deck and you're trying to talk yourself out of it, which is already giving total lie. You know this is what you're supposed to be doing in your heart of hearts.
I can't really argue. Some damage gonna come across here. Runyon gonna lose a Raise the Alarm Soldier token. But he doesn't seem to mind. He's got another Raise the Alarm in his hand and then 2 awesome spells. Perhaps we cast this Lightning Strike?
Two-headed giant.
Well,
yeah, I mean, if he's doing it this way, he's missing out on some points of damage. I also think the looting is very greedy.
Please find your seeds.
what do you mean?
Well, because he's already got 2 awesome cards in his hand, and Raise the Alarm and Stoke the Flames. So what are you trying to loot into?
Oh, I'm always a fan of just looting anyway because once Treasure Cruise is in your deck. Like, you're basically milling yourself for 1. That's the worst case scenario.
Sure.
And with Treasure Cruise in the deck, I think that's always worth doing.
Sure. White mana was apparently
Being
in
just
Jordan's hands.
Sandbag the whole way through.
Yeah.
Okay. Good on you, Jordan.
Draw a card, Jeskai Charm. Like, I guess, you know, if he were to draw like a Jeskai Charm off of that loot last turn, like I guess he's discarding Raise the Alarm, but I'd rather just not loot at all.
Well, it's a random draw step no matter what.
Well, it is a random draw step, but it's not a random draw step that you have to take. You don't have to draw the card with Jeskai Ascendancy. You can just say, I like my 2 cards. I'm not going to risk drawing a card that is good that I could discard.
Sure, but you're presented with that issue no matter what happens because you're either drawing for your turn, that card, or drawing the next card down.
Sure.
I think that with Treasure Cruise in the deck, it's just always just err on the side of looting.
Okay. There's a temple.
And this is the other thing about this deck that I want you to observe right now because I know you're observing this for Portland next week.
I'm observing because it's my job.
John's, well, as you're mulling over the deck that you're going to play, John has not allocated his resources that efficiently this game. There's
Sure.
been some stumbles. He could have squeezed out more points of damage. Maybe gotten the Courser off the table earlier. The Charm got hit, or sorry, the Ascendancy rather got hit with a Banishing Light. And it still looks like John's in the driver's seat.
This does feel like a bit of a runaway. Jordan's not doing very much. John hasn't done anything that is, you know, crazy. And it seems as though he is not having a difficult time winning the game.
Lightning Strike, Xenagos, Courser, Crewfix, a Banishing Light. It's been some action. Jordan's drawn it, you know?
2 nice burn spells in hand here for Runyon, though. Here are the attackers. Pretty confident attack.
I like just attacking here and trying to use the burn spells to finish it off. The token's very unlikely to block the Seeker of the Way. Then your Stoke the Flame is 4 damage, plus 3 for the Seeker, plus 2 for your other tokens is 9. That knocks Jordan down to 4. You have a Charm left over. Easy stuff.
Yeah, life's pretty good. Slayer token's going to block there.
And if he chump blocks, you're happy with this too.
He's going to use Jeskai Charm. And in this situation, I'm fairly sure you just deal 4 because giving your creatures +1/+1 will only deal 3 because 3 damage is going to come through.
Yeah, the thing is now that the math is a little fuzzier because Jordan is blocking the largest creature. So +1/+1 and lifelink might just be saying, well, I give up a point of damage, but I gain so much life that even if you find some way to stabilize from here, I have a million draw steps to find the last bits of damage.
4 is going to come into play. Jordan Davis needs something like an Elspeth here. That'll work. That will work. Anger of the Gods are going to clean it all up.
That's a huge draw. But the difference between Jordan being at 7 and 6 is kind of the same. Lightning Strike and another, all the same burn spells finish it off the same way.
And he's already got Stoke in hand, and he just drew a copy of Jeskai Ascendancy. A card I would have real interest in deploying.
Two-headed giant.
And he does.
Brody and Primo. Brody and
Davis will draw.
Primo. Make your way to the two-headed
A
giant
plains.
area. The round
Pass the turn back.
has begun.
Runyon, only 1 draw step away. Hushwing is interesting.
It's a weirdo.
Yeah.
But no reason to do anything. This still sets him up for a lethal next turn if Jordan doesn't do something specific.
Yep. Sylvan Caryatid.
James
There's a Hushwing Griff.
James Holcomb to the stage, please. Legacy.
We're going back Runyon's way. He'll draw.
Your round 2 is up. Please
A
find
copy
your
of Monastery
seats.
Swift Spear.
Legacy Open Trial round 2. Please find your seats.
This is a removal spell. Lightning Strike. We'll take care of that one. Pass the turn back.
At this point, I'm happy to just to stoke and loot. I don't think random creatures on the ground are worth very much.
Arc Lightning is a draw here for Davis. I would at the end, if I'm in running seat, I would probably Stoke here just to loot because I already have a card I want to discard, which is the Swift Spear.
Yeah, the Swift Spear is not worth very much at this point.
So he is going to Stoke and loot. And draw. Floated Strand. And I'm fine discarding that too.
Yeah, sure.
Yep. Put my opponent down to 3. Doesn't take much to finish him off. Take a draw here. That's a Lightning Strike. We're going upstairs. And that is going to do it. John Runyon's going to win this match here over Jordan Davis. 2-0. Jeskai tokens with Jeskai Ascendancy dispatches Naya Planeswalkers rather easily.
You got to play this thing in Portland.
Oh.
If not this, then something very close to this. What are we talking about here, man?